Hello, my lovings, and welcome back to another Fabulous channel. I'm James J. Books Corner, and today we are starting another fabulous reading vlog where it's another fabulous week. I read a book for a video, and then I read another book or I'm reading currently another book for a video. So those books will be skipped. So I think the only one I have to talk about is the romance. I want to say it's the romance, which is this book right here. I'll put up on the screen for you. I can't remember what it's called because the title is evading my mind. However, I recommend it so deeply. So deeply. This is a fake dating, second chance romance about two people who fell in college and then life decided to take them in different directions, and so they have decided to part ways, coming back together. He is now partially going to be the main character, is a part of a very famous family, and he is possibly going to be the CEO of this company. When he needs a boyfriend to do so, they end up fake dating. For this dude also has some motives as well to fake date. They both have motives going into this relationship. It's beautiful. It's really well done. The characters are fucking phenomenal and fabulous. The whole dynamic is beautiful. It reminded me so much of Red, White, and Royal Blue. Like the vibes I get while reading Red, White, and Blue, I got from reading this book. It's a perfect adult debut as well. I've never read a Justin Winters, I want to say it's who wrote this, YA, and I'm really curious to do so, but also nervous because the sex is written beautifully. You know how hard it is to find gay spice that I enjoy? Super fucking hard. Here it is. It's lyrical, it's beautiful, it's an intimate, it's intense, but it's also like super graphic on its own. It's great. It's a great time. These characters are fucking phenomenal. Also, the third act breakup, or the third act relationship moment, I will call it, was also extremely believable, and I believed everything that happened after it as well. Could not recommend this book enough. It is a 5-star. It is beautiful. Thank you so much for the publisher for sending me an audio book copy of this novel, and I will probably hope we be buying it this year, as I think it's a novel I want to support dearly. Also, it's two black leads, and I don't think there's enough black joy and black love out there, and gay love at the top of that. I couldn't recommend enough. Truly, not enough. On some other notes, on the writing side of things, I have started to write the new scenes. If you guys did not know, I'm currently working on draft 2.75 of my little sister's fantasy novel. I finished draft 2.5 in the last vlog. We started draft 2.75, and I've started to write up the new scenes. There's like 11 new scenes, 8 new scenes, any of you written for it, and I've done 3 of them, I think. So we're slowly chipping away at it, which I'm really enjoying, and I think it is doing exactly what I wanted to and adding them. And I'm trying to figure out the placement of them all, because some of them go before this, and some of them go after this, and that's kind of hard and difficult, but I'm figuring it out. That's my updates. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hi, I want to come here and update you guys. Where do I start today? I guess I'll start the reading vlog. I read 3 things today. Technically started 3 things. 4 altogether have been started. 2 of them I cannot talk to you about. However, I will talk to you briefly about the book I started, because I think I decided to let you guys in on a little bit of knowledge, because they are my wrap-ups and stuff, so I can just tell you that I've started the series, and in the wrap-up you can figure out how far I got in the series. Either way, I read, what are the books I can tell you about? 2 graphic novels I read today. This is one of them. It's 2345, I think is what it's called. It's a BL manga coming out later on this year, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's a re-release, and I got an e-arc of it on NetGalley. If this sounds any interest to you, you can also get it. I'm pretty sure it's a free one. So I didn't realize that when I grabbed it. I typically, it doesn't really matter to me if it's free or not. Yeah, I don't think I realized when I grabbed it. This follows 2 boys. A boy can see ghosts, I guess. It's not really that well explained in my opinion, but a boy can see a ghost, and he ends up running into a ghost near a train tracks, and they end up forming a connection, and it's about discovering why the boy was there, coming to terms, to peace with it. It's all wrapped up in one book and things. I landed on what did I land on? It was like a 3? What was it? A 3.25? 3.5? I can't remember, somewhere around there. The next one that I read was the first book in Seymour Grant Jones's graphic novel series. I'll throw up the cover for it. I can't remember what it's called. This is, the first book is called Death of Columbus, and the whole point of it is, he talked about in the opening that most American Indians probably have a thought, what if they go back when they're learning in school about Christopher Columbus? What if they could go back in time before America was made and kill Christopher Columbus because of the horrendous things that are done to Native Americans and indigenous people in general. Just the horrible things, they all kind of root back to there. And so that's the the whole premise of this is that we follow several people from the I want to say it's the Blackfoot tribe, and we are going between two different time periods. So the first time period is like 2155 or 2144, something like that. The world has ended. It is down in destruction, destruction in Decrave. They have found a portal that can transport them back to the time of Christopher Columbus. Basically, it's just a portal, time traveler portal, and they send someone back to kill the man. And we're following both the journey of what's currently happening and see if the time is changing in the past. There's a few other time periods that have been introduced since this point, since I finished the first volume, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I really like it. I'm giving it a 4.25, I think is where I landed on. In the book that I started, because I was kind of like, okay, so the book that I can tell you about is for a video, and that video is like really getting me down my dumps, because like I'm searching, and it just hasn't happened yet. And so I was like, okay, but I didn't plan on being at work for 12 hours today. Don't talk to me about it. And so like I wasn't prepared for a second book for that video, like another book, because I just very quickly prepared one book before I left. I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? So I picked the next series that I'm gonna plan on covering after we cover Skyward and stuff, and that is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I talked about a little bit how I've been really excited to read these. I just went on my off day a few weeks ago to buy the entire series. I plan on owning all Victoria Aveyard books, and I didn't really know what it was about. I still don't really know what it's about, but I'm this way through. I didn't really get deep into it because by that point in the day, I had already read several more things, and I was just like, I'm okay. I'm good. I just wanted to dip my toes in. I dipped my toes in, and I'm really interested inside this novel. It shouldn't take me super long to finish it, and I'm like super intrigued, and I'm really curious and stuff. I did read the novellas at one point that go before this. Not that I really remember them. I have a vague idea, and they're kind of making sense, but they're also kind of not, like, at the same time. So I'm not entirely sure, but I'm really interested and curious. Writing-wise, I'm still trying to finish Dragnoia. I have to finish it tomorrow. I realize tomorrow's the 9th. I have to finish it tomorrow so I can start my reread process on the 10th, so we can start writing GSR Book 3. So my goal tomorrow is to finish that. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hi, I'm gonna quickly come down and sit down. So, first things first, I'm gonna tell you a little about my Goodreads, because I think it's really fun, and it's also a little bit insight into videos that are coming is a good way to go look at my Goodreads. So, Red Queen, for instance, I'm about halfway through the book, 52% into it. I will be continuing to read it later on today as well. I don't know how far 50% of this is inside this book. I'm gonna say chapter 16 for funsies. I'm here. Okay. I've done quite a few updates on Red Queen as I've been reading it, and like when I've gathered some thoughts and stuff on Goodreads, and so I recommend following me on Goodreads for that reason. Writing wise, I have finished my little sister's fantasy book. It feels really nice. This has been something that's been weighing on my chest for a long time. I finally feel comfortable enough to move on from this part of the writing portion of this book. So essentially I wrote the novel from April to... when did I finish the first draft? I don't remember. April to August? I want to say it was like April to August. I wrote the first draft. The first draft was 54,000 words. It was way more longer than I expected. I kind of shoved it off. I was like, whatever. I'll pick it up in a few months and we'll be fine. It was a mess. The whole first draft was a fucking mess. The reread experience was atrocious, and I had a horrible time with it, and it took me so much longer, and I knew that I was going to have to jump into a draft 2 situation, and then it was probably be very messy to do. So I went through and I redid a lot of the structure in the book, redid a lot of different things for the novel, okay? And we have draft 2. Draft 2 came in at 60,000 words. In that process of restructure, I added about 6,000, 7,000 words. I finished draft 2, the restructured version, with slight developmental edits. Well, the bulk of, I would say, the developmental edits at the end of January. So fast forward ahead to now February 9th, I have finished the rest of the developmental edit. I called that draft 2.5. This is 2.75. 2.75 comes at 64,000 words, as I added about 4,000 words of the developmental edit. It's just small little things, really. I had 2 chapters. That was the bulk of what was added. But there's also like little sections throughout the book. There's a doctor visit that needed to be added in. There was team building exercise that needed to be added in. I'm trying to think of like little things. Her needing to be reprimanded. Little comments that were made later on in the book that really affected who she was that were done purposely here. Plus there's like a a professor inside her in the novel as well that ends up being really cruel. And I think I have like 2 scenes with that professor, and I was like, okay, we need a full scene with this professor because it's such a big part of the ramifications of the rest of the novel. So we also accomplished that. It came out to be about 64,000 words. This is a really short middle grade fantasy in my opinion. I think most middle grade fantasies are around 70 to 80K. And I could 100%, no doubt in my mind, add another about 10 to 15,000 words to this book. I'm not going to though, because 1, I'm not building it for publication, so like I don't care. And 2, if I was, it would be self-published, so I don't care. And 3, it's for my little sister, and I know she's gonna like the book that it is. She's gonna really enjoy the book, and anything that she has comments on, anything that she wants more of in the future book, I'll just put them in the future books. Like, it's really simple and it's really cool. So that's what I'm gonna do. There's 4 to 5 books total. I need to do the outline for book 2. But this being said, the long-winded answer here, we officially jump into GSR, which I'm very excited about. I'm doing the same thing I did for GSR book 2 before I rewrote for draft 2 the entire book. I'm rereading GSR draft 4, which is it has line edits that need to be done in it, and then it's done. It's done. There's nothing else at this very moment in time that I want to change about the book. If GSR book 1 has any developmental edits in it, it's because GSR book 3 has ramifications that need to go back into book 1, which is why I'm writing all 3 together. It's very key. I typically write the right series this way because I want to know what happens. I want to know if I make any changes in a draft in a future book, so I can make those changes throughout the whole thing so there's consistency and no one can come at me. Okay, structure is important to me. Consistency is important to me, but also I don't really remember all of the threads, all the mysteries and stuff throughout the books, and so I'm going to reread GSR book 1, I'm going to reread GSR book 2 and start doing the line edit process for GSR book 2, as there's no way I have any more. Well, that's a lie. I have like one big developmental edit for GSR book 2 before I can call it done, and that is the ending. The ending itself is going to stay the same, but the build up, there's like a section before the ending. I'm changing all of that so it seems more dramatic and drastic for the actual ending of the book, and it'll make more sense when you guys are able to read it. But that being said, that's not happening in this reread. I don't think I'm gonna do that. And then we're gonna write GSR book 3. But I'm gonna outline GSR book 3 as soon as I get done. That's my writing update. This is a long update. And if I get to accomplish my goals, I get to go to the movies tonight. So let me stop procrastinating and get working on my goals. Hello, today is Wednesday, February 13th. I'm going to quickly come in here and talk to you guys. New changes are going to be happening to the vlog. Basically, these are a reading journal and a writing journal for my own personal self to acknowledge what I've been reading and what I've been writing that day. I'm going to talk about if my cats are, well, my one cat's just doing whatever she wants. The other cat, she's pouncing every 6 seconds. But essentially, I'm going to come in here and update you guys on the reading that I've been doing. So if I just hold up like a book like Write a Queen, I'll say Write a Queen for a video, and that's it. And it's just acknowledging the fact that I read it that day, and it took me 4 days to read, so I come in here, I read Write a Queen, I read Write a Queen, I read Write a Queen. I'm not telling you anything about the book, I'm not updating you on the book, because I have a whole video coming out where I'm deep diving into said book for whatever the purpose might be, and so I don't want that repetitive nature on the channel. And I found that in previous times when I've done situations like this, or other content creators vlog every book they read and then it comes out in a video and it's like very specific, it's not as fun, at least in my opinion. So the rating will not be disclosed, and really what the book is about will not be disclosed, but I promise you I'll tell you that it's for a video so you understand why. Now, the video ended up being canceled because I know we've done a few of those and that's where things get a little murky. I normally know if I'm canceling a video by the end of the month, so I'll let you know by the end of the month. If it still has not been decided yet, then I will update you in the next month wrap up talking about those specific books. I'll put them to the side and let you know directly. Alright, it's a weird update to put in the middle, like towards the end of a 2-week long vlog. Things are changing and I gotta update you. I finished Write Queen today. There's your update. Then let's talk about writing. I started working on GSR book 1, draft 4, draft 5. I really don't know what draft we're in at this point in time. And yeah, you're like, oh my god, that's a lot of drafts, Jacob. And it's really not. Every time I go back and I do a reread and I do some rewrites to it, I just kind of put it into the new draft form. I think we've been on my document drafting like draft 3 like last December or 2 Decembers ago at this point. I think it's been 2 years that we've been working on this book. And so when I got to draft 3 initially, it's been like stuck there. But we slowly progressed a lot of the scenes because The thing here is, when you're constantly, like, for developmental edits and stuff, that next pass through, there's sections of the book that are to your liking or to a level where you're, like, comfortable for people to read, and there's other sections that you've done developmental edits that are not to your liking, that you're not comfortable enough to read. I'm essentially I use Google Drive and I do suggest changes on it, which essentially means that I'm not editing my document, I'm suggesting edits for my document, which is how I use track changes on Google Drive. I don't think it works the same, and I think track changes is probably better on Word, but I personally can't use Word for XYZ reasons, so this is the best I can do. So I go through and I get to a passage that has a lot of changes that were made on the previous read through that I, wanted to change this word here, didn't like this sentence, I wanted to add this sentence here, italicize this word, whatever it might be. It's pushed off to the side, but it's green. I read over the new changes. I see if they are good. As I'm reading through it, I might come to the same point in that paragraph, and outside of those new changes, maybe there's another sentence where I'm like, no, something's off about the sentence. Maybe it's the preposition, maybe it's the subject, maybe it's just the words, it's the word choice itself, and I'll go through and I'll make little tweaks to that as well. So I think we are down to the either copy edit stage or the line edit stage. I really don't know the difference between the two, and that's okay. That's not my job. But I'm going to the nitty-gritties of everything. That is what I'm currently doing, and I'm enjoying the process. It's a long process, though. We started at 31,900 words. Because I'm doing this, they do not take away like deleted words from said document. So all words stay. So I think I'm up to like 34 or 3,200, 3,300, or 33,000 words at this point. But in reality, there's like a lot of words that are like dead. I don't want anymore, but I can't confirm those dead words until I reread it again. I think the next pass through that I do of this, because the story point is done, I think will be when I'm officially doing line edits, which I'm planning on only doing line edits at home during my off time, which once I get there, I'm deep diving into it anyway, so it's fine. So once I get into line edits, I won't have double markers anymore, and whatever's written there is what's written there because I'm doing X, Y, other Z things to it. So like, that is the passage. And then if I'm making any changes, those are the final changes. These ones, because I'm still not entirely sure if I like it or not, they're suggestions. I hope that makes any sense whatsoever. Alright, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hello! Today is Saturday, February 15th, and I am here to update you guys on this reading and writing vlog. Reading-wise, I started and finished Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia for Fairies, I think is what it's called. I'm not telling you the rating for this is for a separate video. You'll find out hopefully this month. I really don't know. My life is hectic. So maybe this month, maybe next month. You'll find out soon. So that's the book. Writing wise, we made some great progress on GSR book 1 and some great progress on GSR book 3. And some teeny tiny progress for other things, which we'll sprinkle in here as well. Let's start GSR. GSR book 1, we're 10 chapters into it now. We're officially in the third act. Technically, when I say the third act, probably started a chapter ago, if I'm not mistaken. But we bridged into the third act. We are in the finals, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm a little nervous that the pacing's off in the beginning half, but I'm really liking the story overall. Once we did hit the midpoint, which is where the big reveal, because the first half novel was about, the first third of the novel was about a certain thing, and then some reveals happen, and then the midpoint is like the full-blown reveal, and then like it's full-on circus from there. And I'm nervous that the first half is a little slower than the second half, which it is. I can't really do too much about it because I think everything is important. Every essence that it's building upon is important. I think the structure here is great. I think there's a lot of stuff that is good here. I don't think the human is completely built yet, based on some of the changes and stuff I've had to make, but we are making some really good fucking progress, which I'm really looking forward to. Moving forward, so that's for GSR book 1. There's a bridge. There's a certain line that happens inside this that I got my brain thinking, because I had an idea where chapter like 3 or 4 in GSR book 3 was going to go, and I was like, okay, but would it make sense? And I was like, oh my god, but what about this, which happens in book 2? I can't tell you anything, I'm being vague for a reason. And I was like, what if we combine this and this and this? And then it just, my brain exploded, and I was like, that's the key point. That's what I was missing. That's what I was missing. And then boom, 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 I outlined an entire novel last night before bed. I don't have the exact outlining of Act 2 and Act 3, broken down into their individual chapters of 5, 10, 15. We're really fucking close with the 5, 10, 15, which is really looking forward to. 1 through 5 is pretty well handled and outlined. They're not down to the individual scene levels, but just the chapter levels. I think chapter 4, chapter 4 or 5 are down to the scene levels, but the first 3 are not. I'm still coming up with little ideas for the first 3 as we continue to think about them. And then chapters, I'm sure more will come as I read the second book. So that's really looking forward. That's like, it's so fucking exciting, guys. That's GSR business. I'm very looking forward to being able to get those notes and transfer them in eventually. I need to finish my rereads because I want to make sure I answer all the questions and anything that I feel like is long lasting that need to be answered throughout the series. And that's how we came with that. That's like I was having such a problem with the second half of GSR Book 3 and All Click Together because of some of these questions I didn't have answered that I really want to know the answer to. And I'm sure you guys would want to know the answer to too. So that's where we came to. With other writing stuff, so I have a secret writing project I've never talked about on the channel. Eventually will be coming to you guys very soon. It has a lot to do with you guys and things. And I started some of the brainstorming ideas. I figured it out. But I started some percolating ideas for said book. I think the first video in that series is gonna be more like a sit down talking about it, and then we'll jump into like a full-blown nitty-gritty. Then the second one is The Ruling. The Ruling is a paranormal urban fantasy series that I had worked on book 1 back in like August or September of like 2 or 3 years ago. And then I was like, nope, don't want that anymore. Or I knew I wanted it, but I had other things that were more important. And the first book was such a challenge for me to write because I wrote it in such a different way than I've ever written before that I got really frustrated with it. And so I physically just put it to the side and I was like, I'll come back to it. Finally figured it out. So that's very exciting. It'll make more sense in the coming year or so. I'm very excited for you'll hear more about it in 2025, which you'll hear a lot about in 2026, as I'll say. Talk to you guys soon. Hi. We finished the book. Figured I could make an update you guys on it. I read Nickel Boys yesterday while I was at work and working on different things such as bullet journal stuff, that type of stuff. Nickel Boys is a story taking place in 2 different timelines. I saw the movie earlier this year, last month, and I gave it 5 stars. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. Absolutely beautiful, very hard to watch. One of the most creative things I've seen in such a long time, and I think that the director and the writers and the actors brought these characters in this very, very important and very prominent story to life in such a unique and beautiful way. The story follows Al. We meet him when he's a young child, and it is really quickly learned that he is going to do amazing things in life. The issue is that he's growing up in Jim Crow. He is a black boy, and there's not a lot of opportunities for him to be able to grow and to be able to become the boy that everybody around him knows that he can be, to the point where he's being bullied because he's so smart and he likes words and he likes books and these type of things. But the story itself follows once he is a teenager. He ends up getting in the wrong car at the wrong time and ends up getting sent to a reformatory school called Nickel Boys. And the story itself is fictional, but it's based on a lot of reform schools just like this that were going on at the same time in the 60s. 60s, and I think even 70s, they were still going on, where they would send troubled, I'm going to use quotations here because most of the things that were the kids that were end up sending here were petty theft, that type of thing. The courts decided that they are troublemakers and that they need to go to a reform school to become back into society. There is a white side to these schools and a black side to these schools normally, due to the fact that it was still a very segregated world back then. And then eventually they stayed this way. The white side of the school they were like having a great time, and they would harass, abuse, bully, and murder the black boys. And so the author wanted to write a book talking about a time in history that really is overlooked and that is not talked about a lot with the reform schools themselves. There's been a few other novels I've done this that I've been interested in. I think I own one called Inspection, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere on my shelf, somewhere down at the bottom, that has a very similar, like, coming after the same thing. And I just think it's done so beautifully here. So the second timeline, which is shown in the prologue, we follow Al as an adult. Bodies are being found from the Nickel Boys academy that he went to. And so he believes that he needs to go back and face the demons and really understand what went on back then, even more to what his knowledge is today. And that, my friend, is the novel. It's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely stunning. The characters are vivid. The storytelling is top-notch. Yeah, I think personally, in my opinion, it should be taught in schools. That's how amazing this book is. 5-star, obviously, as you guys can tell. We're moving on to my next read, which is, I cannot pronounce it. I'll have to wait until the narrator pronounces it for me once I do start it. But it is a short story by Toni Morrison. I can't tell you anything about it past this point that I'm reading it, due to, I should finish it today, due to other things, which eventually you'll find out if I could ever accomplish this video. Writing wise, we did finish GSR book 1 all the way through, which I was a pretty big fan of. I thought I landed the landing, which is great. And then we are starting GSR book 2 on Tuesday at work. And hopefully it shouldn't take me super duper long to read. I really don't know. I'm sure I'm gonna have some issues with it, and I definitely know that the third act needs to change a bit and things, but I still need to read to get through all the questions going to GSR. And I'll talk to you guys very soon with a final check-in. Alright, I'm gonna quickly come in here and close out this vlog, as it's technically Monday already, so I'll be starting a new one here relatively shortly. I read and finished this by Toni Morrison. I can't remember what it's called, and I can't tell you the rating. I finished it. I also started The Witcher, the first one, which it's like Blood and Snow or something like that. There's a subtitle for it. Did not know that these are not written in English. I thought these were, I didn't realize these were translated works. This is translated from a different country. I don't know, 4% into it. I finished the other one, like on the drive to go pick up my brother to go to the movies and take him and bring him here because he has stuff going on. Then I started The Witcher, maybe 30-20 minutes before I got there. I got 5% into it. All I know is that Geralt, we are familiar with Geralt, and we're getting familiar with what he's going to be doing in this book. And that's it. I love The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. It's one of my favorite video games of all time. For a long time there, I think it was my favorite video game of all time. That's besides the point. I did start with The Witcher 3, so if you're on the fence, oh, can I start here? I think it's fine. I feel like it does a good enough job. I do not like anything Netflix has produced stuff for, movie-wise. I've not watched the animated ones. We know those are good. But I did not like the spin-off show, which I did watch the entirety of, with Michelle Yeoh in it, because Michelle Yeoh was in it, and I typically do watch those things. And then also, I did not like the Henry Cavill, now Liam Hemsworth, which means I'm definitely ain't watching it, TV show, which I'm sure will end after season 4, because why the fuck would you renew that? Honestly, I would say you probably should have canned it after the renewal, season 3, when you fired your lead. That's where this vlog is ending. Oh my god, I forgot that we're ending a vlog here. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave me in the comments down below, and I'll talk to you all next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.